to the body, to the face.
Angel Garza's got to go of paradise one way or the other. And
over the last couple of weeks, we were getting questions about my martial arts background and how that translates into professional wrestling. So we thought it would be fun for me to break down exactly all the things that I picked up from martial arts and implemented and translated it into my professional wrestling style. Now, as most of you know, I'd say about 75% of my offense is based on strikes and takedowns. So I wanted to give you guys a good explanation as to how exactly the breakdown of these techniques look. Now, a note is that obviously what I'm doing is very controlled. And the reason why I'm also showing it so controlled in the breakdown is because if I use the same amount of force that I use inside the ring, people are gonna obviously going to get hurt. And that's not what we want. So please keep that in mind. Don't try these things at home. Don't think that because I'm breaking them down so calmly that you can just execute this on anyone else. Don't do that. As far as the synchronicity, as we were filming, a lot of these things kind of, you know, we filmed one thing and then we came up with the next thing because there's so many things that I've done, even like small things that I didn't even remember that I was doing, that every once in a while we would go back and go, oh hey, wait, I also used to do. So we would implement more and more things. So the video, obviously, as you're looking at the timer of the video, turned into quite the extensive video. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this very much. If you have any questions after watching this video, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I hope you enjoy it. So, one of the first techniques that you'll always see me use is a simple rear body back kick. Why is it called a rear body? Because when I'm standing, I kick with this leg, so it's coming from behind my body. I move or I jump, I quicken, I turn in, put my knee up, put my hip up, and I extend my leg, my shin onto the body. So, if I'm standing like right here, right now I'm standing in a southpaw stance. From this angle up, I'll move to the sideways, slightly in, and out. Gently kick. Do it from the other angle, same thing, step in, slide in, right to the body. Plain and simple, you've seen me better than 100 people.
No disqualification.
oh! And there's the striking ability.
And another one. Oh!
That Alistair Black has had since money.
Oh, incredibly painful.
Trying to slow down the advantage. Start this thing off with fury. And look at Alistair. Oh!
So this next thing is a arm trap, arm control, which is kind of brings me in a category where it's partially legit, but partially also something you would more see in movies because there's so many openings for an opponent to like punch me back, kick me back, strike me back. So one of the things would be is my opponent would swing at me with a hook. And again, this is a technique that can actually be applied, but you have to be able to intercept, control, and push. So my opponent would come in with a hook. I would step in and I would push my arm over right here. I would lock, and one of the things that I would probably do is I would start repeatedly with elbow strikes or punches or knees. This is a control point, so if we move to the front a little bit right here, because I have the joint right here where I push my elbow, and as soon as you can see the position, it's being legitimately pushed out. I'm not even doing anything, but this is enough for people to just kind of like go down from that position. So again, I would be a hook, I would step in, and I would push it right back down. So from the other angle, I would come in, I would intercept, and I would push back down right there. So even that if she doesn't like bend forward, so I come in, I could even like move around with it like this way. It's just a control point, but like half of that, especially the walk around part, is something you would more see in action movies. The other one would be, if it comes from a legit position, you would pin someone to the ground straight away, or you would attack them, or you would transition into something else, but you'd have to step in and, you know, take that strike in, put the arm over and yank down, or yank down, immediately make room for knees. The other part would be from a clinch. So if we're here in a clinch, you know, I could slide my arm out here and push her out right here. But again, these are techniques that aren't like quickly applied. These are techniques that require a lot of training and translate well in the world of professional wrestling. In the world of martial arts, not so much.
Oh, wow, look at that. Black physical punking Velveteen Dream.
Now this next technique is absolutely more of a John Woo, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee type movement, because there's no way in a real life situation this would work. I mean, this would be a 1 in a million type things. But I actually got it from like looking at various martial arts films, and I always thought this was such a cool technique that would translate so well into the world of professional wrestling. It would be with my opponent throwing a strike, and I would disarm one hand while in the same stance. I would push out, and I would riposte almost like you know, when you see sword fighting, when they step back, they disarm and they come back in, so they would move their opponent's sword down from the same strike. They would, like fencing almost, they would riposte back into it. So for me, it would be my opponent would come in with a strike, I would push it, and I would spin it out right there. So come in, one, and right back to it. So from the other side. So again, my opponent would come in, I would disarm it, I would strike it right there. It's a good thing that she's having this pad right here. From this angle, it would be 1, 2. I would step through. So one more time, bam, bam, step through.
Fast-paced tag team. Wow. Oh, now takes away the leg. And
Yes, Nigel. Oh, wow, he caught him.
One of the techniques that I've really applied almost since day one is the spinning back elbow. Now, anyone who's been watching martial arts longer than 2 weeks knows that the spinning back elbow is one of the most legit, like, deadliest moves there is, because it's, if it connects good, it's an instant knockout. It's a very like defensive move, also an attacking move. Often do you see it applied when people move forward and out of desperation they either step up and they flail that elbow up and they rotate in with the elbow, or they step through, they'll jab and they'll give their opponents the instant that they're jabbing up high, and they'll jab, fake a jab, step through with an elbow. There's all sorts of ways of setting them up. I start setting them up this way. I would, especially in the early days of my career, I would tie them into my combination so my opponent would throw a strike. I would intercept it, I would throw my elbow over, and I would spin the elbow right back in there. Another way that I would do it is I would have my opponent throw a strike, and I would block the strike here, and I would step through with the elbow. Lastly, one of the ways I would do it is I would have my opponent usually like seize my hair, and in order for him to get off of it, I would spin him, slap the arm away, step through with the elbow.
oh, now trying to set up for the iron claw and a back elbow. Alistair Black, able to get free.
Having to survive that brutal cage match.
All right, so the second technique that I use is a head kick. Well, you've seen me kick Buddy Murphy in the head, you've seen me kick AJ Styles in the head, you've seen me kick Seth Rollins in the head, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano. Basic technique, one of my favorite techniques to apply within my matches. Same, comes from behind. Twist my body in, turn my body in, rotate my foot, open up my hips, and kick in the head, right here, and follow through. Plain and simple.
Worried about this. And here comes Gallows. Oh!
Black utilizing those kicks.
The other thing that I do is I create combinations that I would use in kickboxing that I translate to a professional wrestling world. One of those things, especially when you see me getting close to like gaining acceleration throughout the match, is one of the first combos that I would go through is I would implement my opponent throwing a strike, and I would weave away from it, and thus targeting vulnerable positions in the body, because from that aspect that makes sense to my ability. So one of the things that I apply is I would weave out from a right hook. I would come in, I would hit the liver, and I would step over through with a low kick right there. So the other side, try to like stand just like normal in front of me. Yeah, just like that. So again, we come with the hook, I would weave in, I would end up with the liver, and I would follow up with a low kick. Usually you see me following it up with a leg sweep. I can't leg sweep right here, because obviously that's like, Obviously not something I would do, but the whole combination would go in from a weave, a liver, a low kick, and a step through with a sweep. One more time from the other side. I would stand in, I would weave, liver, low, step through, sweep. Here we go.
There's Angel Garza's got to go.
About with Aleister Black in the past, and now the strikes to the body, to the face.
Absolutely, he's countered everything that's been thrown out of Aleister.
Speaking of counters, look at Aleister Black now, countering Murphy.
Now, another technique is either an interception or a grab, and is more of a leg trip coming from a leg hold or a leg grab or technique sort of like that. It's a bit of a sweep. So my opponent would fire a strike, give me a toe kick. I would grab the leg, so let's say they go for a toe kick. I would hold the leg right here. I would move the leg like from this angle. I would pull the leg in right here. I would push my hand behind the shoulder and I would sweep them right there. Or even from this angle, I would intercept underneath the arm, sweep again. And then from the other side, toe kick, low kick, whatever. I'll come in here, I'll sit right there, and I'll sweep them. But the other sweep is also, we can go from here and sweep right there.
Trying to stay close, trying to slow up Apollo Crews.
Much stronger Buddy Murphy here tonight.
For the next one is a TEEP kick. I often use the TEEP kick to set up the scissor knee, or I use it to create space between me and my opponents. It's also the same way that it's used in Muay Thai or kickboxing. With TEEP, we try to create momentum. It's a defensive and attack, as well as an attacking technique, because you can definitely do some damage with the TEEP. Someone's swarming you, you're blocking, TEEP someone out, so you can create distance, so you can come back in, or you can create separation. Like I said, I use it to set up things. I'm not going to actually TEEP kick my wife into the wall. So from this angle, I use my right foot to do it. I can also do it with the left, which is like a smaller, little less power, because obviously if I do it from the side, back of my hip with the right leg, I have all this space and all this momentum to really forcefully push someone away. So from this angle, we're going to do it with the right. I'm going to push my knee up. I'm going to push my body back a little bit so I can create and generate that force and create the momentum, because often the TEEP's like people that close into you, so you're going to have to wiggle your leg into it so you can push people back. So from this angle, here in, I push my foot up, push my foot into it, and I push out, step through, and whatever I want to follow up with or whatever. So again, up, push, down, and with the left, same thing, push out, stance.
Oh no! Into the steel goes Styles!
Black and Buddy Murphy, and Murphy spine first into the post.
So a little story about the scissor knee strike. I had a massive injury in 2007. It took me out for almost 3 months. I had an infection that was so bad that I was bedridden for a while. And when I came back, I felt I wanted to come back with something fresh, something new. Now, the knee strike is nothing new. There's nothing new about a knee strike. I started with knee strikes because some of my favorite wrestlers were using knee strikes. But I wanted to do a knee strike in a way that I hadn't really seen portrayed before. That led me to kind of bring in the scissor knee strike, which is where you actually almost fake out with the opponent, because you throw your first knee in and then you step through, you come in with the other knee. So you're faking your opponent out by throwing it up and thinking, here comes one, and then you come in with the other. So often I would do the knee strike from a leaping position. So I would leap forward with my other knee and then switch over into my knee mid-air. But later on, I would also start doing it as a defensive maneuver where my opponent would come charging at me. So what I liked about it is that, like, if you look back at like Sheamus would start using the, the bro kick, which has a similar principle where he steps up with one leg and then he comes through with the other leg. I always thought that, like, doing it with the knee, especially because one of my trainers was telling me, hey, this might be a thing, because my trainer was someone who was heavily involved in MMA, Bob Sharper. Some of you might know him as an old Dutch MMA pioneer that is currently responsible for UFC fighters like Stefan Struve. He said, like, this might be things for you to work with. It's also around the time where I started using the spinning back heel kick into my arsenal. But we'll cover that one lastly. So the scissor knee strike, I started using around then and there, And it really created a stain mark on my style. Now, for the first few years of my career, I always had a martial arts striking style, but by implementing like the knee and the spinning heel kick, I felt that I was really on the way of defining the style that you now see in WWE. So what I do is I have a low position, I have a high position. The low position comes in where I would have my opponent like either like move into me more, or my opponent will be in a lower stance, and I would step in and I would strike the knee in. So from that angle, I would push in, and this is something that I would use as an opponent like running at me, try to grab my leg, and I would push the leg out and I would strike with the knee. And then we have the high position, which is obviously more directed to like a more upright standing opponent, and I would often use that as my opponent would come running in. It would be more as a collision type knee strike. So I would come in and hit him right there, come in, right there.
Hey. Oh, knee by Black.
Knee right to the jaw.
What a knee strike. Able to break it. Oh, wow, what a knee strike. The tag.
Murphy has
Oh, look at Cesaro again. And the middle rope in the knee.
The other technique that I use is kind of similar to a TEEP kick, is a front kick. I use the front kick more towards the face. You can use front kicks to the body, which you would hit in the sternum, but predominantly with me using the front kick, I use it towards the head region, which is actually almost the same setup as the TEEP kick. I just stretch out my leg up higher, and the push remains the same. If you watch mainly like Kyokushinkai karate, when they front kick people, like it comes from and they kind of hit for the sternum. It's kind of a crude looking kick, but even in MMA, where you see the up kick, you see people getting it under the chin and they immediately drop. So for me, I have to create that space a little bit, and here and push out again. Same thing, same principle. And push it right back out. Stands in, and right back out, right back in their stance.
The second night of WrestleMania, we have a new back on that apron. Nope. Oh, kick right to the face.
Another one of the leg grabs that I sometimes apply, I haven't applied it very much recently, is when my opponent comes with a low kick or a toe kick and I intercept it. So it would come in, I would intercept it right here, and real easy, I would hold the leg and I would intercept with the low kick right there. From the other side, the opponent would come in with a low kick or a body kick, I would intercept it, so like I hold it close to my body, and as we're holding it, I'm low kicking him back, right there in there.
Focusing in on the left knee, trying to chop down Sullivan.
The next one is a leg grab once more. It comes from a toe kick, from a low kick. Whenever I can intercept the leg, so let's say it comes from a toe kick, I would grab and I would pull the leg towards me. So from this angle, I would create space and I would pull my opponent into me. So from this angle, I would pull in, I would sidestep, intercept, and I would throw my opponent over my leg. So from this angle, toe kick, I would intercept, I would step back, I would pull them right back in, and I would push them over. So it's like a leg trip, like a sweep.
That's Austin Theory. Oh, great takedown.
One of the things that I like to do is have very subtle techniques. Sometimes, a lot of times people don't pick up on them because they're so in the flow of what I'm doing that I think that some of the techniques that I'm explaining to you, you'll be going, oh, I didn't realize that was from former martial arts or kickboxing. Now, the first thing we'll do is we'll do leg grabs or leg catches or an intercept, because I can do an intercept and a leg grab. In this instance, we're going to start with a leg grab and a hold from a defensive to an attacking position. So my opponent would come in with a body kick, I would intercept and I would hold it tight to my body. I gotta be quick though, because I'm vulnerable to attacks, elbows, punches, and kicks. I gotta make it sense, so I can't drag this out too long. So from this angle, I hold the leg to myself, I'll push the leg back out, and I'll retaliate with a body kick. Now, for the same thing, if she would stand, if my opponent would run at me, I would scoop the leg up, and I would do the exact same thing. Let's go from the other side. So my opponent would come in with a kick, I would intercept one more time, I would intercept, step in, right here, so I would intercept the force as well, and from there I would push out, follow with a body kick. And now from the intercept, opponent will stand in, opponent would like run at me, I would slow it down, scoop the leg up, right back out, boom.
Oh, but Black intercepts almost, catches the kick, delivers a left.
And of course, then there is the infamous spinning back heel kick, or as I dubbed it, the Black Mass. Now, the spinning back heel kick, again, if you've watched martial arts, or particularly like more MMA over the last couple of years, you've seen some brutal knockouts with the spinning back heel kick. There's two ways of hitting it. Often the way I hit it is with the heel onto the jaw, but I've also seen people with the front part of their foot, the ball of their foot, coming into people's jaws and knocking them straight out. There's obviously savate kicks that go more to the body. I've seen people get knocked out with savate kicks, like straight to the liver. People crumble because there's a lot of force generated, but there's also a lot of risk involved because there's a split second where I have to turn my body and I'll keep an eye on my opponent, but I have to be real quick and readjusting. And if I'm not quick enough, I'm going to catch a blow, I'm going to catch a knee, I'm going to catch a low kick, I'm going to catch a head kick. There's a lot of ways that people can counter a spinning back heel kick, but sometimes taking great risks pay off. And obviously the videos are there to prove it, that the spinning back heel kick is a very lethal technique, as I've demonstrated. So we're going to hold up, we're going to go right here. I'm going to take my stance right here, I'm going to move in, and from that angle I'm going to step through, spin through, and hit my foot right there, which looks like right here. Stand up. And you see that there's a difference. I did the first one with the ball of my foot, and the second one came more down with almost with a hook axe, which the difference is from here, I would keep my legs straight and spin, and with that second one, I would step through, I would hook, and I would almost come down with like an axe type kick. So, one more, stand in, or with the ball of foot, and then here, or with the heel.
Wait a minute.
3 men, and now,
Mass! Mass! Oh my goodness! The SCISSOR! Oh, Black Mass!
We are here at the Devon Dudley Academy in here, very warm Florida, with the one and only Terrence, son of Hall of Famer, the actual son. You know, we've been filming this video where I show you guys how I translated stuff from my martial arts background into my professional wrestling movesets. And right now, the last one that we have, or one of the last ones, is the hanging armbar. Obviously, we all know armbars. We've seen armbars in plenty of MMA fights. Plenty of martial arts have a variation of a armbar. Is the one that I'm doing applicable in a real fight? Yes, it is, because we've seen it. It takes a lot of skill to pull this one off in an actual competitive match. But for me, the way I present them is I want to provoke a strike from my opponents. I would like low kick them, I would jab them. I like anything that I can do to provoke my opponent into throwing a strike. My opponent eventually, hopefully, throws a strike. I'll hook the arm in. I'll cinch the arm in this way so I have it close to my body. On all fours, when I drop down, one of my legs goes into his hips so I can extend and extend. My other leg goes deep in the neck. I'll zip lock my hands. Whoop. There we go.
he would make up a name like Oni Lorcan.
Oh, wait a minute. Now into the armbar. Great job by Aleister Black. So Black out of the way.
Switches into the armbar. Oh, he's got it in tight. He can if he locks it out, this could be it.
Elbow right to the side of the face, and now look at this. Great job by Aleister Black.
One of the last things that I'm going to show you guys today is the body scissor leg sweep with the body scissor into an ankle lock. This is something that I picked up from Pencak Silat. We use it to score points because the Pencak Silat fighting system is based on points. What I do is I either have my opponent running towards me, or I'm running into my opponents when I have a moment where I see an opening. And what I do is I'll jump with one leg onto the body and the other leg goes underneath or the ankles, and I kind of like I scissor, so that way my opponent falls, and I'll scoot over into a modified ankle lock, heel hook calf submission, and hopefully either force a tap or force damage, whatever I can do. So let's do it from the position where my opponent comes running at me. So my opponent would come running towards me. I would stop him because I need the momentum, so I need the body to come in. And then from that angle, one of my legs goes here and the other one goes right there, and I'll roll them in, which will look something along the lines of right here. As soon as I land, I'll immediately go in and keep that leg tight. I'll go over, I'll forward my legs, figure four my legs, and I'll come in, and as soon as I roll my wrist up, a small little tap.
And now, Aleister Black, great job there, now going for a submission, thinking about a knee bar.
Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania.
Oh, great job here by Aleister Black, and now trying to get into a knee bar.
Left knee of Cesaro.
And again,
Beautiful takedown, looking for a knee bar submission.
great job here by Aleister Black.
And now we have the entire list of things that I've derived from martial arts into pro wrestling. Thank you very much.